This was the insanity of this woman right here. Identified as an agitator, as attacking this independent journalist, pepper spraying him, punching him, trying to grab his phone. Take a look at this video.
You talk shit about Islamic people. You talk shit about black people. You talk shit about Mexicans.
When?
And you post it on the internet.
Come here.
What am I? Oh, she doesn't want to be on.
So you can see her just like crash out.
Fucking harassing.
Running out?
How you're racist on the fucking internet.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa.
Go and see.
Why are you so mad?
Why? Because you talk shit about Islamic people. You talk shit about black people. You talk shit about
Gina.
Mexicans.
When?
And you post
Whoa.
it
God.
on the internet.
Come here. Come here. Right here. You good?
Second pepper spray, baby.
So Frank, total Chad, just eats that pepper spray. Again, this just really illustrates the situation on the streets in the United States. Again, leftists are able to operate effectively with total impunity. Do we really think the DA in Philadelphia is going to come down hard on this girl? Highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. This girl was identified as Pauline Reyes of WHYY. It's a news channel in Philadelphia. She is, an unhinged leftist. I think that's a fair categorization here. So just absolutely insane. Jack Posobiec obviously sounding the alarm. Why is your news intern going around pepper spraying people on SEPTA buses? Very salient question. So we're going to grab Frank and ask him what he thinks about all of this. Well, for the people watching at home, can you give a quick intro of who you are, what you do, and what happened?
Yes, so I am an independent journalist with Surge Media. I actually started my own publication here in Philadelphia, and we've been going to protests. We've been interviewing people on the street for the last few months. Our goal is to spread truth, spread information grounded in truth, faith, and accountability, and we've had a lot of success. And just yesterday, we were actually assaulted on a SEPTA bus. We were coming home from somewhere. I was looking out the window, and a lady behind me started calling me a fascist and a racist because she saw my work online. And she actually tried to take my phone. She punched me in the back of the head, and then she pepper sprayed me twice.
Dude, well, I got to say, from the video, you ate that pepper spray. Like, that was like a total alpha moment, or mad respect for that. That was insane. But the fact that this happened is really just an indication of how ugly things are getting. Obviously, this girl was identified. We see, again, some of the identification circling online. Absolutely insane situation. Obviously, from your accent, I imagine people can tell this happened in Philadelphia.
Yes.
This happened, again, on a public bus. So I'm vaguely aware of Larry Krasner, obviously the DA of Philadelphia, the situation there. I can't imagine you're expecting really any retribution, or maybe not retribution, but any recourse really that's going to occur for this. I mean, it seems like a total leftist hellhole in a lot of ways in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so we actually have history. If people go on our social media, they can scroll down and actually see that I confronted Krasner in a public park, and he actually grabbed my phone from me and like shook it and called me anti-American. Now, about a month after that, we were covering a protest at City Hall in Philadelphia when somebody took my phone and smashed it.
Dude.
That person who did that got diversion, so they faced no consequences. Now, the thing about what happened yesterday is it happened on SEPTA, and it's the public transportation organization. So what can happen is the state can come in and prosecute, because SEPTA crimes actually got pulled. Well, Larry Krasner could still prosecute crimes on SEPTA, but the state essentially came in and took some authority away because Larry Krasner was doing such a bad job with SEPTA, and SEPTA gets a lot of state funding. So we're hoping that the state picks it up and actually prosecutes this crime. And we're going to work really hard to make sure that this person faces consequences, because we can't keep allowing people to get away with violence.
Yeah,
They're just going to continue doing it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're seeing all across the country, obviously, the situation in Minneapolis just continuing. We saw the raid at a church and on Sunday. Just absolute insanity. I don't know, from your perspective, it seems like from my perspective that leftists broadly across the country still think this is 2020. They still think that they're able to operate with complete impunity. Is that what you're seeing when you interact with these people? Do they really just feel like they're invincible in a lot of ways?
They do. And it comes down to, like yesterday, that was a personal loan. And that was kind of unsettling, because what we felt was the weight and the danger in what we do. We know it's dangerous, right? We know there's always risks and these people are nuts. But yesterday we saw that firsthand from a person who was willing to commit violence against me. But when they're in a group, they are not scared about consequences, and quite frankly, they feel empowered to act. But they're cowardly. They're cowardly people, and that's why the person who pepper sprayed me, her name's Paulina Reyes. She actually calls herself a journalist and an intern at Y, which is a media network here in Philadelphia, publicly funded. But she fled. She fled because she's a coward.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're cowards.
There is something interesting, something to be said about the fact that this girl, obviously cowardly, crazy, but the fact that she is gainfully employed. Like, when you see these types of things in the past, you would just chalk it up to like just someone that's just a crazy person. These are people that are working at news networks. I mean, these are people that, for what it's worth, are occupying positions that are fairly important. I mean, I know she's an intern, but like the fact that this is happening at an organization like Y, I mean, again, they disseminate news, and we're seeing this all across the country. Is these aren't just like random people, with nothing to lose per se. Like these are people that have infiltrated a lot of these institutions and are hijacked by this leftist ideology. I mean, that has to be quite alarming, I think, for everyone, that someone like this, again, working in a news agency, is radicalized like this, where they're literally just assaulting people in public.
Yeah, these are the people who are giving people news. These are healthcare workers. These are people in every sector of society. And it goes back to the educational complex. These people get radicalized in college, and then they go on to work in professional jobs in every sector. We see it in healthcare. We see it in media. We see it in politics. We see it everywhere. It's really a danger. And I think that's why it's super important to take back the colleges and essentially show how they're indoctrinating students, because that's really where it starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw after Charlie Kirk when, all these people were celebrating, and, these people that were celebrating, they're posting, under their government name. In many cases, some of them were chucking it up on LinkedIn. Like, it was absolute insanity. And so when you would see these people posting these types of things, you would expect to click on it and they would just be like a loser. But oftentimes they would be, again, gainfully employed at, fairly influential organizations. And you're just sitting back like, is this really how bad things have gotten? Is this really how much ground we've lost? Because I think when I see something like this, seeing you get assaulted, what I see is I just see, wow, how much ground have we lost? How insane is it that there's such a large contingent of people in the United States that, again, will just quite literally assault you for having, just conservative beliefs. Again, beliefs that, at least half the country, if not the majority of the country, hold. I mean, attacking someone like you, again, you're someone that has the beliefs of probably a good majority of people watching. I mean, that's just a massive wake-up call, I would think, for everyone.
Absolutely, it definitely is. And what's more alarming is that Y, the media network that she is involved with, did not come out and denounce political violence. Community College of Philadelphia, the place she was at school, and I was at school, and that's how I knew her name, because we were both in the same school and we kind of went to the same events at some point. But Community College of Philadelphia did not come out and denounce political violence. These people are allowing this to happen. And we can look at establishment Democrats, and we can talk about the current issues with ICE. They are delegitimizing ICE and putting federal agents in danger. And when they say that ICE is committing crimes and all of this different stuff, a Nazified Gestapo, I actually heard Larry Krasner say something to that tune in a meeting I was at, listening to him speak. What they are saying to their radicalized base is go out and obstruct. And that is, it's really a whole complex. It's the woke complex, and it includes education, it includes government officials, it includes people in all different professions, and then it includes the radical sect that oftentimes are unemployed, but they're willing to throw their whole lives away to, commit violence against Republicans and commit violence against people who disagree with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said with Krasner, we saw in Minnesota with Tim Walz coming out and saying they're snatching up, your neighbors of color. Again, just sort of, indiscreetly posturing ICE as this, again, like this Gestapo going door to door, like kicking down doors or whatever. And all that effectively does is, again, when you're just lying and slandering these guys who, again, are just conducting an operation that was voted on. Like this was a referendum, and the American people said, yeah, illegal immigration, not cool that we would like mass deportations now. People at the RNC holding signs up saying mass deportations. ICE is just carrying out, again, a very popular policy, by the way. The majority of Americans are in favor of deporting illegal immigrants. What that effectively does when Krasner, when Waltz use that kind of rhetoric, is they're, again, indiscreetly kind of putting a target on these guys' backs. And like to your point, I mean, people are quite literally willing to destroy their lives if it means carrying out sort of this obstruction that's being called for. It's just really despicable. That's very encouraging to hear that, again, the state might handle this, because it seems like a lot of times these DAs, I mean, you see it in Portland and Minneapolis all the time, is they're pretty much useless. They'll check you in, you get a night of sleep at jail, and then you're out the next morning.
Yeah, it's a good stay for them a lot of the times. Good experience. But, what we've learned is these people need to be held accountable. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that this person is held accountable to the high extent of the law. She assaulted me. It was aggravated assault. She used pepper spray in an enclosed space. She didn't only endanger me. She endangered everyone on that bus using that pepper spray for offensive purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, she was calling you like a racist and all these different things. I'm talking to you now. You seem like a really nice guy. What I mean, because obviously they're just going to call anyone racist for the most part if you're a conservative or even broadly right wing in any way. What was her gripe with you? Like, is there any like specific instance, or again, is this just like generalized? You're a conservative, boom.
So I think that the fact that we're having success and we're actually showing people what's happening on the ground, and we're exposing the radical left for who they are, the violent people who they are, and the fact that a lot of these protesters, the ones who aren't particularly violent, don't even know why they're protesting. And we have tons of interviews backing that claim up.
Mm-hmm.
I think she looked at my success and she was mad and jealous, and probably mad that she isn't having the same amount of success and pushing her beliefs and whatnot. And it was really just a rage that I think overtook her, especially when she couldn't bait me into a screaming match, which she tried to do when she first saw me. I turned around and I was just looking out the window of the bus. I turned around and she was saying, "How's it feel to be a racist, a fascist?" And I said, word for word, "I disagree with your characterization about what I do, but I hope you're having a good day."
Yeah.
And she really got more aggressive, and that's when I pulled out my phone, and thankfully we got it all on camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, it escalated very quickly, and a lot of the times it comes when you won't stoop down to their level,
Mm-hmm.
they get very, very angry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we really pride ourselves on at Surge Philly, and anybody can find us at surgemedia.us. We pride ourselves on acting in principle and not stooping down to their level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you guys kept your cool. And again, I mean, that's why this story is going everywhere, because again, you guys kept her cool. What she was trying to do is drag you down to her level, like you said. But I mean, that's what's so alarming, is because, as far as I can tell, your job effectively is just document what these people are doing. And just the fact that, like, they say like sunlight is the greatest disinfectant, it's the same thing as, again, all you're doing is documenting what they're doing. It's like, I'm just showing people at home who maybe aren't on the street seeing this what you guys are up to. And just the sheer fact of documenting what's going on is enough for these people to completely crash out. That's really It's almost demonic in some way. It's really disturbing behavior.
Well, it shows, and this can go back all the way into the fact that these people don't actually believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
But essentially, they've replaced God with a cult belief, a Marxist cult-like belief, where it's, this is the only thing that's right. And anybody who opposes this is an enemy. And not only an enemy ideologically, but also an enemy to their core. They need to be eliminated. And that's how these people think. And that's why they get so violent. But when you approach them, and what I believe in is spreading truth. I go to these protests. I talk to people with the intention to figure out why they're there and what they actually believe. And, they don't believe in that. When you approach them and ask them questions, they meet you with hostility because it's a cult. And this goes back to, well, why can't they answer questions about what they believe?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, and it's because they cancel their own in their own circles. If they voice a opposing opinion, they get canceled. They get kicked out of their own group. So they're actually scared of each other. So when they go out in the real world and meet people who actually have a different opinion, they don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to respond, and they treat those people as enemies.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just clear that I think of all the adjectives that you could correctly sort of prescribe for these people. I think the number one that comes to mind is low impulse control. Like they literally just will crash out at the drop of a hat. And it's really just unbelievable to watch in real time, watching it again manifest here in an actual assault. I mean, it's just absolutely remarkable. But that's a great point these people really don't have sort of a guiding ideology. They don't have really a purpose, and that's why they just fill it with radical politics. They don't have anything else really going on in their lives that would make it worthwhile for them to, again, work in any other capacity in life. The only thing that really gets them up in the morning, that sort of provides them with any purpose or meaning whatsoever, is this idea that there's a revolution going on and that people like you, people like me, people like people watching at home are the only thing standing between them and like a perfect utopian society. That's a pretty powerful, it's a pretty powerful motivating force for these people. And I think that's why you're seeing an escalation in violence over the last few years, but just in the last few weeks. I mean, these people are clearly down for the cause. This isn't just people that get caught up or swept in it. I mean, that to a degree happened in 2020. These are people that are quite literally ideologues. They quite literally have a vision for America, a really pernicious one, but they have a vision for America. And again, they just view us as like in the way. And that's really disturbing. And I think a lot of people now at home sort of see this as well.
Mm-hmm. And, our goal is to depict what's happening, and that is exactly what's happening. So we're going to keep going no matter what. They can pepper spray me, they can mace me. And the reason why I didn't react super badly was because I was actually pepper sprayed last week at a protest. We got attacked. Somebody tried to punch me, and then they pepper sprayed me. And thankfully, the cops got me out of that protest and to safety. But yeah, I was pepper sprayed last week, and I had to go to the hospital to get my eyes rinsed out because they said it could have been bleach.
Dude.
So this week when she pepper sprayed me, I was kind of like, okay, this happened last week. Just another day at the office.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, so the situation in Philly, has there always, I imagine, I remember from 2020, but has there always been this kind of hotbed of leftist activity? And, in addition to that, has it sort of kicked up in conjunction with what's going on in Minneapolis, or is it kind of a separate scene, I guess, for lack of a better word?
So it's always been here, and it's particularly violent here in Philadelphia because there's a radical network, and a lot of it is based around a Palestinian movement. That's where they got started. So we actually went to like a Free Sudan rally just to ask questions, and we were chased by somebody wielding a Palestinian flag. We were threatened with assault. Somebody said they were going to headbutt me, and I had to be careful walking home. And that was a few months ago. And that's when my phone was actually smashed by somebody. So we've seen this at almost every protest we've been at in Philly. It's very, very violent here. And we see all of the radicals now moving to the issue of ICE, because that's what the establishment Democrats are saying. They're talking about ICE constantly. It's all over the news. So all these people who would be violent no matter what are now focused on ICE.
Yeah. Are these people, I imagine they have to be emboldened by Krasner. The fact that they probably perceive, again, that they will be able to operate with impunity, because, again, if maybe they're not part of the same organizations directly, but they do have a similar guiding ideology. I think the Democrat Party and these leftist agitators, when you look at the rhetoric, look at their enemies and their common goals, it is tough to decipher, again, the ideology. I'm not saying necessarily that, people like Krasner, people like Tim Walz are out in the streets committing crimes per se,
right?
But there's no question that they're on the same page.
Yeah, it's the rhetoric. It comes down to how they say certain things, calling ICE a Gestapo, saying that, Republicans are Nazis, saying that Republicans, including me, I got called anti-American by Larry Krasner. Well, that's calling me an enemy. And his followers are going to go out there and they're going to attack because they don't have anything to lose, unlike Krasner and the establishment Democrats. Just after we went to a town hall with Krasner, where Krasner was saying things, and this was right after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, he was calling Republicans essentially evil people. I stood up and I said, stop this. You can disagree without calling us evil, without saying we're anti-American, without questioning our patriotism. And the next town hall, they actually shielded the door And this was somebody who was advising Larry Krasner on LGBTQ affairs, a ally of Larry Krasner, with a bullhorn saying, "You need to be taught a lesson. You're not coming in here guarding me from entering his town hall." And you can find that video on Surge Philly or Frank.Scales on Instagram. Look up our website, surgemedia.us, and you'll find our social medias. But yeah, I mean, these radicals are empowered by Larry Krasner. And another thing is that they don't face any consequences. It comes
Mm.
back to accountability. If people aren't being held accountable, they're going to be empowered to continue acting poorly. Larry Krasner does not hold criminals or people who commit political violence. And at least in my case, where my phone was smashed on the ground, the woman was given diversion. She was not held accountable. When you don't hold people accountable, they feel empowered to keep committing the acts that they were before and keep with the poor behavior. And that's what we're seeing in Philadelphia across the board.
Mhm. That's what's so frustrating when you hear about these DAs and you meet guys from Philly, guys from Baltimore, from New York, and you name it. You give me an American city, you talk to someone from there that's a total patriot, and they're describing the situation with their DA, and it's like that scene from Toy Story where Buzz he looks on the shelf and he realizes there's a million other Buzz Lightyears. It's the same thing with these DAs when they're like, "Hey, we're light on crime, we're letting leftists operate with total impunity." It's like, yeah, there's a million DAs all across the country that are operating the same way, and it just really illustrates how bad the United States has really gotten, and that these people, again, this is kind of comes back. I know it's kind of a meme at this point, but it really does emphasize the importance of guys like you exposing what's going on at the local level. Because again, so many people, that engage with conservative media, they want to hear about what's going on with Trump. I mean, like this morning with my show, I talked about the Greenland situation, these sorts of things. But when you really think about what's going to impact you on a day-to-day basis, where is going to be the obvious impact on your life? It's your DA. Yeah, it's your city councilman or councilwoman. It's your assemblyman, your mayor. These are the people that, again, on a day-to-day basis are going to be massive disruptions or potentially beneficiaries for your life. I think that's why the work people like you are doing is just so vital.
Yeah, and I will never, ever stop. Again, they can do whatever they want. As the great James O'Keefe said, "My price is my life," and I feel the same way. This is super important.
Patriot.
People have died. People have risked their life, liberty, and sacred honor for this country, and I'm going to do the same thing. I think that the work we're doing as independent journalists, and there are many people out there doing this work, is super important because, like you said, it's gotten so bad in America because what they've realized is that they don't actually need to change the law. They
Mhm.
need to be in charge of enforcing it. So you see all of these leftist DAs that got propped up across the country who aren't enforcing the law, and people usually don't look there. So it really flies under the radar,
Yeah.
but it's affecting people's lives in ways that are horrible. People are dying. You
Yeah.
look at Irina Zarutska, and she's not mentioned nearly as much as she should be.
Yep.
But that gentleman, and I don't even want to call him a gentleman, he was an animal.
Yep.
But the man who killed her was a prior criminal.
Hmm.
They had plenty of chances to put that man away, and they didn't. And that came down to local politics. You look at Tate Scott in Philadelphia, beautiful young woman, great life ahead of her. She was killed by somebody who was already caught on strangulation and kidnapping charges, but they let him off. Keon King, they let Keon King go. They let him go to go kill Tate Scott, allegedly kill Tate Scott. And that could have been prevented. If we had law and order in these cities, these horrible events could be prevented.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, you thumb through the Philadelphia City Code or Charlotte or wherever. The laws are all there. We could turn this off tomorrow. This is all optional. But it's these, like you said, these DAs just, again, operating in opposition to law and order and these sorts of things. I guess we're kind of, coming to a close here. What would be your prescription, obviously being, a Philadelphia guy, for all the people in the audience that, live in these cities? I know the rhetoric, among conservatives is get out of the cities, but, a lot of people want to see their cities do well. Again, as a country, our cities are vital to our economy, our culture, these sorts of things. What would be your prescription for someone living in a city like Philadelphia or New York or Chicago, these sorts of places, for how they can sort of work or operate, again, to move their city in the right direction? Because I think a lot of people are very, rightfully so, black-pilled on our cities.
I would say, first of all, fight, fight, fight. the cities are where we are going to determine if we enter a golden age of America or not. So we need to stand up and we need to fight, because the people before us, again, they sacrificed their life, liberty, and their sacred honor for this country. So we can't stand down. We can't just give radicals and violent criminals a place to be in their own land. That's wrong. Our cities are super important, and they're a huge part of what makes America great and what will make America great again.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, I would say there are 180,000 registered Republicans in the city of Philadelphia. About 220,000 people vote to elect the mayor. So if all the Republicans get out to vote, at least in the city of Philadelphia, Republicans are going to have serious sway. And then you look at the Democrats, a lot of people are registered Democrat. And I talk to these people. They're registered Democrat because they have to be for their jobs, because the Democratic machine has such a stranglehold in these cities. A lot of them people are willing to vote Republican. So I would say we can't give up on the cities, and there's a chance to make real ground in all of these cities. And I know for a fact it can happen in Philadelphia. And I'm going to see to it that we keep reporting truth on the ground, getting what's actually happening to people through social media. And if anybody wants to support that mission, surgemedia.us. And, you can donate, or you could just like and share our videos. We're going to keep going.
I love it, dude. Total patriot. Well, before I let you go, I got to ask you again, because there's so much anti-city rhetoric, I think, in the conservative media space right now. Tell me what you love about Philadelphia. What makes Philadelphians, Philadelphiers, whatever you guys use as a denominator, what makes you guys special? Because, so much history in Philadelphia, but give the people a white pill. Why is Philly so vital and worth fighting for?
I would say the people. I would say we have some radicals, but the community in Philadelphia, and these people, again, are registered Democrats. They are down-to-earth, hard-working people, and they make this country run. And a lot of them are willing to vote Republican, but I love the people. They support me. They stop me on the street. They shake my hand. One person even bought me a coffee a couple of weeks ago.
Let's go.
But the people here are awesome, and I'm happy to live here. We have a very livable city in Philadelphia. You look at places like New York, where it's skyscraper.
Sure.
Philadelphia is a good place to live, and it's close to Washington, D.C. and New York. So Philadelphia can really become a law and order city. We're probably going to be the best city in the United States of America. It's just going to take a lot of work.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, Frank, where can people find you?
surgemedia.us. People can find our social medias on that website. Also, if you just want to go to social media, frank.scales on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or Surge Philly on social medias. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, Surge Philly. But frank.scales, surgemedia.us, that's our website.
I love it. Well, everyone go follow Frank, dude. I can't give you a go Birds, but I'm really appreciative of you hopping on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
I will. Go Birds.
See you, dude. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
It's an honor.
Alrighty. Well, that was the great Frank Scales. Yeah, that was really, it was cool to get him. I mean, this story was everywhere. It was all over my For You page. It's just absolutely insane what's going on in this country. It's one of those things that puts in perspective, is that literally it could be anyone. Frank is on the ground. He's doing the work and everything. But she views Frank the same way that she views you watching at home. Anyone that is not down with the cause for these guys is an enemy, quite frankly. That's really what it comes down to. And it's just, I really am at the point, I don't know how we can share a country with these people anymore. I mean, it's getting so ugly. That's why on the show yesterday we talked about it's why it's so vital that Trump really sends a message to Minneapolis, because these leftists in Philly, these leftists in Portland, wherever it may be, they're going to see that, and they're going to see that, look, it's a different sheriff, new sheriff in town. The tone has been set. So with that, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Come give me a follow there. Tonight, Timcast IRL at 8 p.m. Be there or be square. We got another great show for you tonight. And with that, I will see you guys then. We're going to raid the great Devori Darkins. It's going to be a fantastic. Go hang out with Devori. And I will see you guys later.